A very similar overall take on this portion of the, the mega floods tours. All that driving, all those miles we covered, and you're just in this lake basin. Every time you go through a narrows and you come out and it's this massive valley it's just, the landscapes in that part of the world are just huge and vast, and the mountains are tall, and there's not a whole lot of trees in a lot of the places, and you can see the strand lines way out there, and it's just like, okay, this is insane how big this basin was. And you're driving through the bottom of it, and then you go through another narrows, and then boom, it opens again many miles down the road, and you're still doing it. And you just was like, this is so much.
Okay.
Sorry. It's like, yeah, we're under 1,000 feet of water here. We're under 2,000 feet of water.
Yeah,
here.
right,
yeah.
We're under 800 feet of water here. Just everywhere we went, basically, we were at the bottom of a 1,000-foot plus deep lake. It's crazy.
Yeah. So once again, it's far too vast, I think, even to conceptualize while you're driving through it. It's, in other words, seeing it for me made me realize the vastness that is beyond my comprehension.
That's what happened with the Scablands too. Yeah, it's like, it's big, and then you get out there and you're like, yep, I knew it was big, and it's even bigger than I thought it was, even when I knew it was big, and now I know that it's too big.
Yes,
to really think about.
Too big.
And so to correct that, it's it's half the I was talking about the guy who measured the flows from Eddie Narrows, which would have been everything from that basin that we were in.
Yeah.
Versus the flows from south of Ponderay. I don't remember where what that place was called.
There wasn't enough water coming through Eddie Narrows to make up the flow down there. Yeah.
To put it in turn, we could talk about cubic feet per second. We could talk about cubic meters per second. I like to talk about cubic miles per second because, really almost what you need to do is you're going to need to get your head around what 1 cubic mile of water is. You almost need to go out and stand on a prominence somewhere where you have clear view, 90 degrees in both directions, 1 mile.
Yeah,
and it's pretty far.
Yeah, yes, and a plane a mile above you. Yeah,
you need something a mile above you. Yes, to picture. I try to say, well, picture an ice cube 1 mile on a side, and then you think one draining of Lake Missoula is 600 of those. Just one draining.
Yeah, God.
But we're looking at multiple drainings because that water kept. And see, think about it. If we really wanted to cover the whole territory, for example, we would be up there in Boulder Park in Washington, and we would drive north hundreds of miles further up the Okanagan Valley, tracing the same damn flood.
Yeah.
We could do, if we go to the north end of Flathead Lake, there at the south end of Rocky Mountain Trench, start driving there all the way up to Prince George. We're still in the flood.
Yeah, it's crazy. The other great, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, drive west down through the Columbia Gorge. There you are. We haven't even taken that in yet. At some point, we got to figure out how to include the Columbia Gorge in a tour. Because that is spectacular in its own right. And then make some side excursions up some of those tributary rivers because they're amazing and have these enormous backflood landscapes in them. Then you get down there to Portland. Then you go south all the way to the south end of Willamette Valley. And you got a massive backflood that has entered that valley, loaded with icebergs. Those icebergs are loaded with erratic boulders. And then I think we talked about the Willamette meteorite, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Man, the pictures of that thing are just...
Now, see, and what's wild about that is, number one, it was in a cluster of basalt erratics and with some granite mixed in, which is undoubtedly from Canada, right?
Yeah.
So apparently you had basalt out of Washington, granite out of southern British Columbia, and that meteorite all being carried together on an iceberg that then backfloated south into the Willamette Valley, came to ground, and then melted away and left that pile there. Like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
How about this for some forensic evidence, huh?
Yeah.
So I would venture to say that the Willamette meteorite is probably one little speck crumb of whatever fell over the ice sheet.
Hmm.